Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm up at 6:30 in the morning and I'm here until we finish.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my Tuesdays are long. Okay, and we are live. What's up, guys? We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are back, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be right back with you, Howlers. Be right. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
It's Melanie.
And we are back with Dad Academy with Jeff Hamilton. What's going on, Jeff?
What's up, fam? You know, this is it really does like start to feel that way, and not to like play kiss up or anything, but like you guys, I don't know if the audience really understands how much work this is. Like it is now. Like as the pastor of a church, I don't think the average person who comes understands what a grind is every Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? Like without even a small church like ours has a certain level of production and a certain level of things that can go wrong. And it takes a lot of people just to put on a simple public gathering.
Yeah.
Right? That the average person, you know, rolls up, grabs a donut, cup of coffee, comes in, you know, sits down. They worry about what the temperature is or if they like the music too loud or what. Man, there's so many people, especially now that like our church, you know, live streams and then you post social media clips and all that kind of stuff. Like
I saw that.
It's
so
a grind.
Is that new? Did you just start posting those clips?
No, we've always been doing that.
Okay.
It just takes time, right? And
Yeah.
so
It's not easy.
yeah, and so like I think about you, Mel, right? Caregiver for your mom, like all the stuff that you got going on in your life. Jacob's trying to run a business here. He's being a dad to teenage kids. John and his wife, like they're driving all the way in from L.A.
Yeah.
Right, to just direct the show.
Yeah.
You know, and we can be sitting out there and be like, how come they're 10 minutes late?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're like troubleshooting and breaking things down. And man, to the people behind the scenes and the folks in the room, like I just really honor you. Like this is a hard thing to stay consistent. We talk about it all the time. Like there's no days off from this.
No.
And
The problem is too with days off of something like what we're doing is you're forgotten like that.
yeah.
So in this world, we have to be consistent on constantly going, constantly streaming. I mean, it has to happen.
Well, I think like even just like Mel's job, where like she texts me and be like, "Hey Jeff, what are our dates that we're going to do this month?" She texts me today, "Hey, are we still on? Like everything going okay? Is there anything that I can do?" Like I'm all inspiration. I am zero management.
Oh.
Right?
Hey,
The
so
details.
am I. So am I,
right?
Loki Jeff.
And so
I know.
like
I
the
know.
fact that you like take the time to do that and like tonight I'm the third guest
Yes.
tonight, and usually we not just have like three. Usually there's like
There'll be 4 to
groups
5.
of people,
Yeah.
and like every week. And I'm grateful that HOB now has people that want to be on it, and some of us are privileged like me that you know I have a regular standing invitation. Like
Yeah.
that's really great. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
But like guys, I just like thank you, and to the audience that's out there, right, John? There you go, bub. Like so, this is a grind for everybody who's watching, and you know, it's not that different from like any kind of significant relationship, right? It takes work.
Well,
So
and then none of us are getting paid for this. So what we're doing is we are basically putting our time and money into this and hoping, not just hoping, but working towards an outcome for it to be profitable and in hopes one day it will. pushing towards a goal, and that means a lot of people are pushing towards that goal.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot, but the consistency is the biggest thing, because people can do this. I mean, how many times there's like, I think it was like 6 million podcasts or something like that, but only like 500 of them have even done over 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And then even less. That's only 3
Wow.
episodes.
That's crazy.
So, and this is statistics on podcasts in general. So there's only a handful that are consistent, right? Literally a handful, and then there's even smaller handful that make money.
Well, yeah.
So it's just crazy.
Well, I just regret too. Like, this sounds crazy, but I remember being in the first 5,000 people that were offered a Gmail account.
Dang.
I remember
That's
when Facebook came out, and I was an early adopter for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Way back in the day, blogs were such a big deal.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, when it was just kind of taking off, and you know, I had a pretty there was a, you know how you find like your people and like the common topics, and you find a little tribe and a little voice inside that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys who stay consistent with that, primarily in kind of my line of work. I mean, many of them went on to become authors and pastoring large churches. Those kind of things were huge platforms, and blogs were really kind of the launch for podcasts.
Yeah.
But man, back in the day, a podcast was so incredibly difficult to put together.
Yeah.
You had to have all types of editing equipment and microphone. Like it was crazy. And so, you know, you were joking around with me. Yeah, I saw your post from this Sunday. Like, do you do those all the time? No, I don't all the time. I'm totally inconsistent. I'm totally horrible manager. The only thing that I do good right now is just the grind of Dad Academy, because like you, right? I feel like we're called to do something, and there's an audience that you guys are serving. And I feel like I have a need to be able to, again, consistency is what creates validity, and people, it builds trust with the audience. And I'm just trying to be consistent and faithful, you know, with this project too.
The only thing is that changed within this last year, actually, is the clipping. So that's why it's so important to clip. Yeah. Because if you don't clip, they won't even look for you to find you.
Right.
So the clipping is what changed the game, and that's a newer thing. Within the last year, it's like a must.
Well, and there's so much.
Yeah.
Like, I have, you know, obviously because of this and because of some of my circles, I'm on somebody's podcast once a week, twice a week.
Yeah, I haven't seen you.
Right. And it's been pretty dope. And two, because it's Dad Academy related, I tend to try to make my own clips from that or share the other stuff. And in my little world, like I've gotten some things coming up with Father's Day that, you know, I'm going to be on some podcasts that get like 250,000 downloads per episode. But like I have a good buddy that's in Kentucky, and he owns a roofing company. But he has 3 little emphasis that he does. He has a podcast called Cultureneer. Terry Gwaltney, just want to shout out to you. That's talking about, for businessmen, about the importance of the kind of culture that you create in your environment.
I like that.
So it's a leadership podcast.
That's really cool.
It's a great one. He also has this thing that's called the Man Up podcast, because he and Dad Academy do some related stuff. But man, recently,
it's a dope name, Man Up. I like
Yeah.
That's dope.
In fact, I'm speaking at, he does a camp. We can talk about that later. And actually in June, I'm going out. He's doing a camp for fathers and sons only. And I'm going to be the speaker at that too. But
that sounds cool.
Well, yeah, we'll circle back to that. But what I was saying was that, like, I was on his, 18 months ago was one of the times I was on his podcast, and I had, you know, like 58 views, right? And then it was like, I was on one recently, and, you know, it got like 300 views or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next dude who came on was like 5,000 views. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like nobody, like I couldn't find information about like the guest anywhere. I was like, did he bring his own audience? Did he, And they started working and, again, sowing some money into YouTube. Man, now he's getting 14,000 views of the podcast and stuff like this. And even my brother and my nephew, who's now
They're paying for ads.
12. They are.
That's what they're doing.
They
Yeah.
are. But it's
Ads
banging.
Ads
right?
work. No, it does.
And my brother wanted something to do with his son during COVID. So and at that time, 5-6 years ago, Caleb is 5 or 6. So he was all into Pokemon cards, right? So he has a Pokey Energy, shout out Pokey Energy, Brad Hamilton and Caleb Hamilton. And they just started like opening packs. Bro, those guys have now like 150,000 subscribers, but they still can't monetize the channel.
Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of hours.
So that who are viewed,
so
right?
So I'm not. I want to word this properly. So other podcasts. That's when when a lot of people are not monetized when they have that many views. That means it's being botted. That means they're paying for bots, and it looks big, but it's not.
It's not really happening.
It's not really happening. So they're not watching. So if you get 30, like if you get, because you said how much? Over 100,000.
Well,
right?
my brother and Caleb, my nephew, they have legit people, but because they only do like a 20-minute show, right? And it's once a week, that they can't get enough views. There's a whole. It's not just algorithm. It's like an actual numerical number.
You need like 9,000 hours or something like that to be monetized.
Correct.
So once you get that, and then you have to get it within a time frame.
Exactly.
So if you don't get the 9,000 hours within that, like the year is about to hit, then you have to start over the next year. So if you got the 9,000, it's scratched. You still got to get another 9. You got to get another 9,000.
That's crazy.
We got ours in that amount of time, and we almost didn't get it. I didn't even tell you. You didn't know because you weren't really around during that time. But we barely got it. And actually, Shadi was here during that time. But Shadi was he was freaking out because you can't fake that number. You can't bot people. It has to be legit people watching. So he actually started sending that stuff to friends. Watch it. I'm sending it to people, everything I can, because we almost ran out of time. Dude, we barely got it. And then we hit the monetization, and then boom, we're monetized. And even then, after that, still, you have like 3 other things you got to do. Then they demonetize. It's like they're not demonetized, but it kicks you off. You got to do more stuff. Then you're back on. Okay, cool, I'm monetized again. Then it kicks you off again. There's like 3 steps. We did our final step.
There is.
And we're fully monetized. We've been fully monetized.
That's just I want to encourage the audience. Like this is a labor of love, and for many of you, it's a hobby, and sometimes the guests are entertaining. Sometimes I wish Jacob and Mel would call me before they have like certain guests on. I need John to sometimes get like a language silencer.
A mute button.
Exactly right. They need a little.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love it. Like I don't like coming from me. Maybe some of that would be surprising. I'm not. Right? What was a TikTok thing? Right? We listen and we don't judge. Right? So I listen and I like you guys. Seriously, like are my peeps. There's a lot of love for just who you are, and the thing that we love about this environment is that we just get to be real. Like we're not pretending to be nothing. Right. Maybe when you and your mom start doing your radio show, then you'll be like, but,
that's the one thing I really want about this pod is because there's conversations I wouldn't even have with people because I feel like I'm not going to waste my time arguing with this person. You know what I mean? But I think on this podcast, I put that in my brain where like no matter what, you need to be real and you got to explain it how it needs to be explained. Even if somebody else like kind of debunks what I said, like, okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
That's why, I like when I come in with my perspective and you're always like
No.
What do you say? Objection.
Objection.
We're gonna start working on that, Mel. I'll start holding me a little bit more accountable to stuff like that, right? When you're on. But
I love that.
I've also loved how this has evolved,
Yeah.
right? Because one of the things I think that we don't give people enough credit for is the growth that takes place over time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to do the work, it will show in your work,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, some of the things and guests and topics that we used to have on the show. I remember meeting Jacob, for the first time, like more than 18 months ago. Was it two years ago when he came to Camp Agape, and then the kids were, at that time, John, Jacob's uncle, was like, "Hey, Jeff, we're going to go out to Fontana and, be on a podcast. You want to come?" I was like, "Hell no. I'm not driving all the way out there, man." Fontucky. In fact, John, I hope my wife doesn't watch it because I probably needed a mute button for that. Because I used to be the chaplain at the Speedway. So I knew what it was like trying to come out here. And Mel, during when I'm in coaching season, she knows I can't get here at 5, because it's
7.
yeah. So, but all that to say, I appreciate the growth, and one of the ways that you can really see growth in people is the level of trust that they extend. Right? You don't go through life not getting burned. You don't go through life without carrying some battle scars, some bruises, right? And the first response, I think, for us is, as people, we just become defensive and protective, and rightfully so. There's a lot of pain and there's a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And when you combine some of these experiences with other things that we've experienced in our life, right? Relationships that have failed, even just shame that we carry of ourselves from mistakes that we've made in our path. But that's the beauty of growth. I'm not just saying getting older, because I still know a lot of 50-year-olds that act like 15-year-olds, right? You don't necessarily grow. I'm sure that there's a lot of ladies out there that would say, amen to that. But I've seen a lot of growth and maturing, and the way that we approach topics, the way that the kinds of discussions that we have, the willingness to be a little bit more vulnerable and more real, because we understand. There's a really interesting Bible verse in the Bible in James, and it says, "Confess your sins one to another so that you can be healed." And you're like, what? That makes no sense, because I don't want to be sharing my garbage with nobody. And yet I've never been in a situation where I have brought up some of the most embarrassing or shameful things that have happened in my life, where there hasn't been someone else around the table who goes, "I know exactly how you feel."
Yeah.
And the healing that starts to take place happens when we realize that we're not the only one. And the lie that we always believe is, why does this always happen to me? Why does this only happen to me? And I think those are the, like each of you can tell me, do we grow during the easy and the good times, or do you grow most through the hard times?
We literally just talked about this in the last
Yeah.
podcast. That's when you grow, is when you're going through struggles and trials and tribulations, because you're not going to learn that thing. We were explaining, a lot of people that just are spoiled and been spoon fed. Really, you see a lot of hollowness in them. They just don't understand things, and even though you've been through things, you're like, dang man, I'm kind of glad I'm not like that. I want to understand things better, and
the people who do that, they still have the same pain. They still have the shame, still shame. But the only way that they know how to deal with it is to not deal with it and to continue to pretend. Like what happened with the Bachelorette chick?
Oh my God.
Right? So
Yeah, she was hitting her
Well, let's go back. So all of a sudden, right? Because I told you before that one of the housewives of Orange County lived in my neighborhood.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right. And when we were living in Irvine, she lived like literally out of our master bedroom window of the house that we were renting. I could see her house. It was 3 blocks away. You know, the husband would park his big old Hummer out there and would, you know, they'd rent a Ferrari and bring it in there and stuff like this. But it was like a 2,200 square foot house. It was not some big mansion, but the way that they would shoot it and stuff like this would be so big. So the housewives thing continues to grow, right? And eventually we get to the housewives of Salt Lake City, right? Which is such a weird place because, you know, you have this weird mix of Salt Lake. Like it's the headquarters for the Church of Latter-day Saints. And so many people are committed to that particular type of religious practice. And yet there still is all of the humanity that takes place. It's about status. It's about appearances. It's about, right? And we found that the Mormon ladies were just as catty as the Christian ladies, who were just as catty as the Islamic ladies, who were just as catty as the ones who didn't give a crap about anything, right? Yeah. And so out of that, then they're like, okay, well, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's find it. Now it's the secret lives of the Mormon wives. Well, the funny thing is, like, some of them are like on their second marriage. They're not even married to the person that they're dating, and yet they've got all these kids. Like, if I was a Mormon, I would have been like offended by that show because there wasn't anybody that was standing up for this is who I am. And so on the show, they chose the woman that was having the most conflict with all of her relationships. She was the one that wasn't liked, as far as I understand it, was the one that wasn't liked by any of the other women, right? Which, you know, and we do know that girls can be catty. And judgmental and like, so... Especially when you're competing, especially when you're competing for TV time,
John.
Right? When it's competing for TV time, right? So they chose the one whose life had the most conflict, and because she was single, they're like, I'm going to be in The Bachelorette. Like, who is so silly right now to know that everything you've done can't be found out?
Yeah.
You know that you've been arrested for beating your boyfriend. Yeah. You know you've been arrested. You know that video's out there. Yeah. And yet you still convince yourself like, no. I'm just going to pretend. My way through this is I'm going to pretend like this never happened. Yeah. There's only like 2 bachelor or bachelorettes that ever stayed married in like 28 seasons.
Really? Crazy.
Like, so that whole idea of just presenting, right? Man, who has time? Do you know how much work it is to be fake all the time?
Well, I can't even fathom that.
And so this is very refreshing, and it should be refreshing for the people who are watching, because we got some folks who are just willing to be real. There's no pretense, have a little fun. Yeah. But let's talk about some real stuff. In fact, the interview the other day, I should have pulled up the clip. I wish we could do this. I need like another assistant director. Hey, John, would you could pull up the clip from blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we got to.
Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. The clips would be good that we could start doing. It is a little tough, but we can get them beforehand. We can do it.
But the girl, dark-haired brunette, Latina, black top, she was talking about the changes that she went through after she started getting serious about her relationship with God. Do you remember that?
She was on our podcast? Christina, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Christina.
Did she have curly hair?
I'll tell you in just a second.
It's Christina for sure.
Yeah, I think it was Christina.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that whole show. But
yeah, she was on by herself, right?
Yeah, like I think so. It looked like it was, because she was just sitting in the position where I'm at, and there wasn't anybody else around. And she was pretty real with what she was talking about. Where is it? Well, it's not worth.
It's Christina though. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not that girl. Yeah, I don't want to. That was not the girl I was referencing. Anyway, I just appreciate how you guys have made some space for that. So
Yeah. Well, I like that at the end of the day. I mean, what's more real than people
Being
trying to
authentic.
focus and put the relationship with God. I think that's the most real you can get. Everything else is like more for self like motivation or self.
Yeah.
It's all for you, building, making money, things like that. But I think like trying to form. I think my biggest things is God and trying to be a good parent.
yeah,
I think that and building on your relationships. I wasn't really one. Besides being a dad, I didn't really care to have a relationship with anybody else. Even like towards the end, friends, I was more like, I don't want to. If there's like some type of conflict or anything like that anymore, I didn't want to deal with it anymore.
yeah,
I was like, I don't want to deal with no argument, no conflict, no nothing. I'd rather just bye, like cut, like even not even hang out with his friends as much anymore. Like I kind of became very, like distant and defensive. Like I don't want to mess
Yeah.
with, like not to the point where I'm going to argue with you. I'm just not going to deal with you.
right.
You know?
And I don't know that that's healthy either, right? Because we are people who are engineered for relationships, for
Yeah.
that kind of interaction, and especially with men, right? We just start pulling back. We just start pulling away. I've got a lot of guys in my family who are comfortable. It's just being me, but that's just because it's safer. It doesn't mean that it's better.
Mhm.
And it's one of the reasons, in my opinion, why in the story we know that Jesus chose 12. We call them the disciples, right? But when you think about it, because the only people, there was plenty of women that followed Jesus as a leader, as a teacher, right, as an example. But we see all these stories about these 12 guys, like in The Chosen. And one of the reasons why I think specifically in his wisdom that God chose 12 men, right? Because if it was American style leadership, the way that Americans mentor is very transactional and very informational. So I'll give you everything that I know, right? I'm going to pass it on to you, and I'm going to sell you my online class. And Mel, now that you've gone through it, right, then you just start doing that class. And then I'm done with you for 3 months, and now I'm on to Jacob for 3 months. And in a year, I'll do 4 people. And over 3 years, like Jesus's life was, I'll have done 12 people. But those 12 people will be trying to walk out a mission themselves. And they only have themselves to process the information with. And it only passes through their filter. And in God's wisdom, he said, if I'm going to make something missional that is going to last thousands of years now, it has to be primarily relationally driven. And you start to think about the 12 guys, we even see some of the arguments about, like, I want to be important. How come you get to do that and I don't get to do that? And I want to have the inside track. I want to scale the ladder. And Jesus was always confronting that. And so many times in the stories about Jesus and what we call the Gospels, the stories that are told by Matthew and Mark and Luke and John, they're talking about how the disciples were like arguing and challenging each other, and yet how they went through some of the same things. Like there were some life-threatening situations that they considered that they went through together. And, I think it was the importance of those relationships that is allowed the story of Jesus to continue to expand, because it's not meant, while it's a personal relationship with Jesus, the journey of being a Christ follower is one that is shared.
I like that.
So, and I think he had to choose guys because we're just too dumb, right? It took 12 of us to have to like figure and fight it all out, right? And so, yeah, it's a interesting journey about how important it is for us to have like real, authentic relationships. And we've talked about it here on the show before, about we see the outcome of when that doesn't happen, right? Men isolated, withdrawal. We've talked about the self-harm statistics in Orange County. It's the second highest leading cause of death, next to heart disease between men 35 and 65. And so relationships are really key.
I used to think not to. I used to think I can do this on my own. I don't need nobody to confide in. And then I was talking to my dad about it, and this is not that long ago. And he was like, "Well, look at Jesus had the 12 disciples, and they all discipled with each other." And I was like, kind of like, dang, I didn't think about that. I was like, well, I can just go to God by myself. I don't need somebody because I don't know. I just started kind of being in that mindset where like I wanted to distance myself from a lot of people.
Until we stop and think about how many dumb decisions we made when we were the only consultant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when I only see things through my perspective. A couple sayings that I have is like, you don't need anybody's permission, but you invite people into your life because you need their perspective. They see things that you don't see. Or another thing that I say is, you alone are responsible for the decisions you make. Right? You're not allowed to blame people, point people, but I also say it this way, but you're not responsible to make all your decisions alone. In the book of Proverbs, it says that wisdom comes from a multitude of counsel.
Dang.
Right? And so I say that everybody needs a spiritual team. Right? And I think that team includes teammates, people who you're doing life with. I think you need coaches. Mel, you and I were talking about like the health journey that we've been on, and you had a friend who was showing you some new workouts and stuff like this, right? That kind of information is important, right? And you shared like, I like learning new stuff. I like having, right? So
changing up the rhythm.
We need coaches, right? Tomorrow, not to throw everybody's business out there, but you're going to have a tax appointment tomorrow, right? With a professional, right? Who's going to be able to coach you on some of these things because you're not pretending to be an expert.
Last time I tried to do an audit, I got a letter in from the IRS, and it was a question about my taxes that had been prepared by a previous person.
Right.
And I thought I could fill it out, send it on its way, and I'll be good, right? Nope. I marked the wrong thing, and then I ended up having to pay taxes. I just, messed up my whole deal. So never again will I try to think I can do my own taxes. So I will go to someone. I'll hire someone if I have to, and that's going to get it done right because,
right.
they know what they're doing.
So I mean, Jacob's whole business right now exists at Fix It Diesel. Because guys need specialists who have a certain set of skills,
right?
And I think in our lives we all need coaches. In fact, one of my best friends says this: every man needs to have these contacts in his phone. Somebody who knows something about construction, right? Whether it's a plumber, a framer, somebody who knows something about something.
Yeah.
They need to have a professional. So whether it's a doctor or an attorney, somebody that they can just ask a question, and they need a pastor. And I think he says, with those three people in your phone, you're never going to be short of having the right information.
I like that. I never even thought of that.
And so, in fact, where am I at, John? Right here. Give me a zoom in, close in. No? Because like I always tell people all the time, if where you go to church and you don't have that pastor, you don't have somebody on that church staff, their number in your phone, that's not your church. That's where you go to play church. Because church is all about the relationship. Church is people.
Yeah.
And if you don't have access to those people, then we're just kind of playing the game. Now, you may not need the guy's number who's doing the speaking if you go to some monster church. But you got to have somebody in your life who's going to be able to provide the kind of care that is supposed to be accessible to us from those kinds of positions. So we need teammates, we need coaches, but I also think that everybody needs somebody that you that you coach. And so another dude said, is that I need these people in my life. I need somebody who cooks for me, somebody I eat with, and somebody who I cook for.
Mm.
I just saw that the other day.
The last part, though.
Right?
I'm just playing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, since we've had your cooking, we may not want that. That's probably a better example. But that idea, right, of just knowing, like, and I love that image because who's at the table?
Yeah.
The table is where life really happens.
Huh.
And who are the people that are integrated into your life? And so, so I'm going to ask you both a couple questions. Name. You don't have to give me your names, but I want you each to think of 3 people who, in a time of like, you either just need to be encouraged, or you need somebody's counsel, or you just need somebody to hang out with. Right? Somebody who always makes you feel good. Give me names of 3 people who are like that for you.
Feel good would be probably my daughter.
Okay. Yes.
Great. What was the other one? Other 2?
Somebody that you need counsel from.
Counsel.
Like when you're facing the decision, I always end up calling this person.
I think Jacob now. I talk to Jacob a lot.
You should start
But I have a
putting my
therapist
text number
too.
in. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have a
that's good because
therapist
that's a good process. Although outside of the business hours, it's not somebody that you can call.
Right.
But having somebody to process things with is really important too. And those are, Jacob, who's some people in your life that you love to be with because they make you feel good, you make you feel valued? Who is somebody that you go to for advice and counsel?
Well, my kids for sure. When I feel good, honestly, Mel and Millie, I feel good around them too. I don't feel good around a lot of people. I don't really care. I feel like numb a lot, right? But outside of my kids, it's been her and Millie.
Maybe we should go to therapy right now. Turn on the therapist hat.
And then what was the other one? Counsel. Man, I feel like I don't go to people for that no more. But like I do go. I'll go to my dad sometimes, but I try to not even do that. You know, I try to.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't go to anybody really.
Bro, I love you, but that's so stupid.
I don't like telling people my business anymore. I just don't like that.
I think for me too, it's hard. Like I have this conversation with my mom all the time. Like I go to her sometimes, I confide in her a lot, but she's very biased, and she knows that. Granted, she's very overprotective because she's
biased for you,
right?
Okay, yeah,
yeah. So, but I want to have like counsel from someone a little more level-headed, hear both sides, kind of tell me right and wrong. You know what I mean? Don't just enable me or coddle me and make me feel like I'm okay for doing what I did or said what I said. You know what I mean? Like I want the real deal. Like
right.
And I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love my mom to death, and I love her for that. But there's just certain things I can't really tell her, or not that I can't tell her, but that I won't, because it's just like I know what kind of response I'm going to get from her. You know. And with my dad, he was never really around in my life growing up, so I don't have that relationship where I can go to him, even though he tells me now, like, oh, I'm here to help you, if you need anything, call me. It's just never been a thing for me, so it's like it's hard, you know. And I think also going back to the whole church and, you know, confiding in your people in your church, like I do have a church, but I grew up in the church. I was very heavily involved when I was in my teenage years, and did the youth camp and all that, but it was a smaller church, and you know, the leadership was a little deceiving for me, and they allowed certain things to happen that shouldn't have been happening while you're on stage and performing and, you know, doing other things behind the scenes. So for me, it's kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth when it comes to confiding in people in the church. Don't get me wrong, I love the church I go to now.
I got you. I mean, listen, that's what we talk about all the time. I mean, that's my business, right?
Yeah.
How many people today? I mean, we are at an unprecedented time in American history. For the first time in our nation's history, more people are not going to church than go to church.
Mm-hmm.
more churches are closing than are starting,
That's crazy.
and we're also seeing this consolidation that people are not going to the small. Like there's a tension right now in the faith world, in individuals' lives, where number one, we want all the stuff that the big mall offers, right? I want 18 classes for my kids, and I want to be able to join a rock climbing group, and I want to, what all the stuff, and I like all like, oh man, did you see the way that the lights were moving with the drum? It's just like a concert. All those things are great. I have no complaints
Yeah.
about those things, and yet, but the other tension is that people feel more disconnected and isolated than ever. And going into a crowded service where there's over 1,000 people in this, and you don't, because they have 8 services on those days, and the big churches are just getting bigger, and the small churches are continuing to get smaller because the things that people really want are in the small churches, but the small churches don't provide the services,
Yeah.
right? The expectation that are provided by the megachurch. It's like going
Yeah.
to your local neighborhood hardware store. They're not going to have everything that Home Depot has,
Yeah.
right? And so, do we support the taco stand that's down here? With the people that we love, and we want to, commit to making their opportunity to just, we want to support what they're doing, and
Yeah.
we feel connected to who they are, or are we just looking for the pre-made enchilada plate from El Torito?
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference between like home cooking and having to be prepared, and because that's a challenge. It says that people want authentic community and connection more than ever. And when they go to church, while they feel good in the moment, they walk away still kind of empty because, like, I don't know how big the church is. I know the church that Jacob's dad goes to. If Jacob's dad doesn't show up to church, everybody in the church knows that he wasn't there that day.
Yeah.
Really?
Because because that's the kind of thing that is embedded into this thing. It's because of this odd family dynamic, that is part of one of the reasons why your kids are so important to you, right? One of the reasons why my wife is so important to me, is because of the spiritual connection that we share. The relational connections that we share are really important. We don't really think about this very often. One of the things that I always wanted to talk about on the dating and relationship advice show is, when you give yourself over to some physical intimacy with someone, it's designed to be also a spiritual connection. And how many of us know, like, relationships where we're looking at people like, would you guys just break up already? I'm so sick of your drama. One of the reasons why they can is because they are connected at a deeper level because of how much of themselves they have given to the other person. And so the spiritual dynamics of relationships is something that is a dynamic that a lot of people don't talk about. But it does speak to the way that we're wired relationally to be connected, not just emotionally and not just physically, but relationships have a spiritual dynamic to them as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Bomb drop, John. Just kidding. No. These oh, sorry. I didn't tell my. Hey, so my folks, my people, I have whenever I just need somebody to tell me that I'm like, I have a friend named Kelly who he just thinks everything I do is great. If I like need to, have a conversation or process something, or I need some inspiration, I call Kelly and he tells me that he's great. The most loyal people to me in my life are my brother-in-laws and my brother. My brother number one. My brother Brad is like the best friend that a dude could have, and he's not just mine. Like all the men in his life who know him, he is like a foundational relationship for them. My brother-in-law Saul, I mean, just a super. My wife's sister's husband. I mean, we've been family now for over 30 years. We've had our ups and
Wow.
downs, and we finally come to the point where we just value who each other is. There's no drama, no, and I really just he's somebody that I know that in a crunch would lay it down for me. And my brother-in-law Tim, my sister's husband. I mean, again, I've been friends with him longer than either of us have been married, and his character and his integrity is just without match. But I also love like your Uncle John. He's an important relationship to me because John creates a space for us to do some life together where I get to be the best me. Like the things that I do really well, that I think I can succeed and make a contribution, and some things that I think that nobody else can do. He lets me do that and doesn't make me do all of the other 80% of the other junk, right? That has to. And so I really, his friendship too has been a lifeline for me. Jacob, I just the longer you go as a man without investing into some significant peer relationships.
Well, I used to do that, and a lot has turned like bad, so I stopped because I don't trust people no more. I just don't trust them. I'm really close with my brother, but we don't talk about mushy stuff. We
Well,
train,
that's your
we
family
fight.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah, we train, we fight, we we'll like talk about things, but it doesn't we just know.
Well,
We
that's
ju- we
yeah.
just-
That's
yeah,
because
you know
there's a
what I mean?
shared family history. Like
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
shared a little bit about like
Yeah,
what it was like growing up, and you
Yeah,
two
so
had to
we're-
have each other's back.
Yeah, we just have each other's back to the full. It's like when he knows my shop's not doing good, like he'll be like he'll send a bunch of work here, and he's like, I got work, and it's like we don't even have to say anything. We just have each other's back, right? But I had friends and things like that like really betrayed me, and I just don't want to be close to people like that no more.
Well, that puts you in good company, because as we're about like this Sunday is going to be Palm Sunday, next Friday, a week from Friday is Good Friday. Then it's Easter, and what's one of the biggest things that happens on Good Friday? What's the story?
The
Judas,
resurrection. Oh,
right? Like this dude literally sold Jesus out
yeah.
because he had an expectation of how things should be. That's not. He wanted to pressure Jesus into a situation that would fulfill what he wanted, not what the will of God really was, and it literally cost him his life. And There's a whole bunch of stories in the Bible. One of the things I do with young men is when my son was 16, I took him on a camping trip, and we talked about 3 important leaders in the Bible. The first king of Israel in the Bible, King Saul, King David, King Solomon. These are big names, but we talked about their failures. Saul lost his leadership and his influence because he couldn't just simply obey what was asked of him. David lost his leadership because of a point of personal compromise. We know that, he has this affair with Bathsheba, right? But in order to do that, he literally had one of his best friends killed to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And then Solomon was supposed to be the wisest and the smartest man who ever lived. But at the end of his life, the kingdom was completely destroyed and jacked up, and all of his relationships with his children were messed up. And all 3 of those guys their relationship with their kids were horrible. And I think just understanding that there's no way that you can, like everybody in their life is going to have a Saul. There's going to be times in your life where you're David, where you have made such a big compromise that it seems like I can't recover from that. Some of us are going to be like Solomon, where despite having every advantage, we're still going to find a way to screw stuff up. Those are good warnings for men, for, life in general as well.
Never thought about that. That actually makes a lot of sense, though. It's like, but you don't realize you're doing it. You don't realize that you're like distancing yourself from people until like you kind of start realizing you're getting closer to some people, and then you're like, oh shit, is this good for me? Should I do this? And then you're like, why am I thinking this? Because then you don't realize that either until you start thinking like, why am I thinking about that though? That's when you start like I think things start kind of like shifting in your head. You don't realize you're even, I don't know if you even notice, like I don't hang around with my friends as much. Remember I was telling you? I just hang out with them all the time. And I distance myself from them. Not like, oh, I'm distancing, like saying it. Like, I just like, I want to do my thing. Like be on my own.
That's because maybe the things that there is, that's the other thing that we forget as men. Most of our relationships are based around context, right? Like, these are the people I work with. These are the people that I was on the team with. These are the people I work out with. This is my softball team. This is my car club. This is my work friends. Those are not really your lifelong friends. Now, I do, one of the challenges as a guy my age is that relationships take a lot to maintain, especially among guys, right? And again, our default mode for guys is just to think about ourselves. And I think one of the things that I'm struggling with right now in some of my extended relationships is, well, there may be people who are not acting like my friends because they're not calling me all the time, or they're not checking in on me. Doesn't mean that they still don't have that same kind of affection and connection, because the minute that we're together, it's like we just pick up where we left off. So if I want that, that means that I have to make some time for that. And I have to be okay being the initiator of that relationship so that that relationship can still make a deposit for me.
This is so funny we're talking about this. I was literally thinking about this today. Exactly what you're talking about. I was literally thinking about it like in detail today. So that's funny that you're even talking about this. It's like we never talked about this like this on the show. So it's just funny that we're even talking about it.
And my wife, like, she's the best. Seriously, if you want a friend, make friends with Jamie, because she will be your friend until the day you die. She will cheer you on. She will stay connected with you. She is still best friends with girls she went to kindergarten with. Oh, wow. Right? 50-year-long friendships and relationships. I do think, like, there's a verse in Matthew chapter 6, and it says, store up treasures in heaven. Like, what am I going to need cash for in heaven, right? Like, what really is the treasure? Think about this. After this life is over, what's the only thing you're going to take with you into the next life? What is it?
Your soul.
Your soul.
Your character, I guess.
Your character. Think bigger. Think beyond yourself. What are you going to take with you? What's really the treasure of life?
The memories.
Memories that always include who?
Your loved ones.
Exactly right. The treasure that we're storing up in this life to take with us to the next one are the people that we love. The people that we've invested into. Those relationships, right? We talk about our relationship with God, and that one day, right, when we stand before God, the Bible says that I'll finally fully be known as I was meant to be known. I will be fully realized and who God's designed me to be. The person that we're trying to pursue to become right now, one day that will be accomplished. And but the other thing that we take with us are all of the relationships. The biggest treasure in our lives is the people that we have. And there's a old story in my line of work that you never hear somebody on their deathbed saying, "Man, I wish I would have worked more. Man, I wish I would have made more money." They're always talking about the people in their life. And unfortunately, maybe some of the regret or the shame that they carry. I wish that I would have done some things differently. Well, that's what for you. We're learning this as parents, right? How often and how healing is it for us just to tell our kids we're sorry and we admit when we were wrong?
Yeah.
Do they hold that stuff against us? No. In fact, it becomes a healthy model that you don't have to be perfect. Well, we should be continuing to give our invest our heart into significant relationships that bring benefit to our life. It doesn't mean that they don't hurt.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I think I talked about this on our last show, but I mean, my wife and I had a fight.
Yeah.
Remember
I think you
this?
mentioned it last
Right?
time. Yeah.
And she was like, "Let me out of this car right now." And if you knew my wife, you'd be like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what did you do, Jeff?"
Yeah.
And like we've had some tough
Moments.
times when really, if we had given ourselves an option, it would be easier just to be done. But we just didn't give ourselves that option, right? Now I'm not making judgment on anybody else's situation, right? But for us to say that we have a perfect marriage that doesn't need ongoing work, we are two radically different people, radically different. One of the times, in one of our discussions, quote unquote fight, right? I just looked at her in the mind. She has three sisters, coming from a dad who was raised by a single mom and a mom who was an only child of an only child,
Oh.
and very passive husbands. So it was all female. So she gets all the female talk. But one time we were having a conversation. I was like, "You do not speak man." I said, "Listen to my words. Don't listen to my tone. Don't try to figure out what I'm trying to say behind the words of what I'm trying to say like you do with your girls." I said, "I'm just telling you what I'm saying, and I'm getting loud not because I'm mad, but because I don't feel like you're hearing what I'm trying to say." Like, we are radically different. And while that is also a strength for us, it's also a point of tension. So our marriage, I'm grateful for my wife, man, 33 years, and she has worked hard. She has worked hard at this. And I think any relationship, whether it's with your dad, with your mom, with your kids, but even with our friends, right? They're not easy. They take work and they take commitment. And they take being able to walk in some forgiveness. They require having to have a lot of grace for people, the same kind of grace that we expect from them. But it's important discipline because it's the only thing that we're going to take with us beyond this life right now.
Do you think cutting people off is like, I mean, I personally think cutting people off that do you wrong is just is good. I think it's good to cut people like that off. But do you think cutting people off is a good thing, or what do you think about that? Because even the Bible says run from those kind of people too, right? Like,
I think boundaries are healthy, right? I do think that we're in a very self-centered epidemic right now, that there's so many adults that are cutting ties with their parents because their parents are emotionally abusive or not emotionally accessible, or like what makes you think that the world only revolves around you?
Yeah.
yeah,
Right there. there really is an epidemic. And in fact, there has been a study that has come out that over the last 25 years, one of the things that has started to go into the training of therapists has been that anybody who causes you any emotional strain or concern should be cut out of your life, including your parents.
Yeah, that's true. That's dramatic.
And that's happening a lot right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. On
so
that part.
so it's happening a lot.
Yeah.
And I do think, like, I do not think that anybody needs to continue to put themselves in a situation that is abusive.
Yeah,
I
talking about abusive,
also don't think that we
major
should.
betrayal.
I
things
also
like
don't
that.
think that we should put ourselves in situations that cause us knowingly emotional distress. Right? There are, while it seems to be on the rise, the idea of the narcissist continues to rise. I personally think that just people are becoming more and more self-centered. When your life gets small and you only have you, then everything has to revolve around you and fit in your box. One of the things that relationships do is it causes you to have to stretch. It causes you to have to compromise. It causes you have to, like, maybe let
Bend,
go.
give.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
To sacrifice, which are all, going back to our original conversation, things that cause us to grow.
Yeah.
So I do think that there are certain times and certain things where you need to cut people off. Somebody who has really betrayed you, unless they own it, and unless they're willing to
A lot of times
make things right, then that's probably not something that you need to subject yourself to. Yeah. But I also want to encourage you, it's also not something you should hold on to.
Yeah.
Right? We've all heard the story of forgiveness. Forgiveness is like wanting someone else to die and drinking poison.
Yeah.
You're the one that's holding that, and it's not having any effect on them. If someone has betrayed you, I would encourage you just to find a quiet time somewhere. I don't know what people's perspective on God is or whatever, but at some point you've got to do some inner work in yourself that just says, I'm not going to let this hold me back anymore. I'm going to let this go. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to go back to them or back to that situation.
Yeah.
But I do think that you can't hold on to these things because they continue to cause damage to us the longer that we hold on to it. It's kind of like Jacob, like as an athlete with high impact sports that involve, running and bumping, basketball, and you're running into people. Occasionally what would happen is my hips get out of line. And when my hips get out of line, I don't feel it in my hips. I don't know that my hips are out of line until I can't move my neck anymore. Because what starts to happen is subtly my body just keeps adjusting as that thing works its way up my spine. I don't even know that it has caused, I know but when my neck can't move, it's usually not because somebody has, put a Kimura on me. It's because I've been running and I've been bumping, my hips get out of line, and I go to the chiropractor and you can see that my one foot is like 2 inches shorter than the other because my hips are offline, and your spine has the ability to self-correct until it can't correct anymore. I think that's what happens in people's lives is they get injured and they learn to adjust till all of a sudden it paralyzes them.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I can see that for sure. Cause I think I didn't realize that I wasn't talking to a lot of people or dealing with people because I just wasn't paying attention to it. I was just like,
Again, that goes back to the being self-absorbed. I don't know what's going on. People must not like our conversation tonight because we got nobody in the chat. I kept looking to see, like, hey, what's going on?
We got people watching though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe some folks who are watching, it might be just be in the background, but I would just encourage you. I'd have you ask. I always like to say 3, but I want you to ask yourself a couple questions for those of you who are just listening online. Number 1, is there a relationship that I need to have it let go of me? What I mean by that, somebody who's betrayed you or somebody who has hurt you, you're not actively in a relationship or encountering that person anymore. But you still carry that, like, that wound, right? You just carry that baggage. And I would just encourage you, like, even right now in this moment, like, as you start to think in the back of your head, and even for us, right? Sometimes these people come to mind. I think that's often one of the things that how God works and how God speaks to us. But I would just have you think, is there something that I need to stop its hold on me? Right? And I would just simply say, like, their name, whatever that describe the situation. Some of it may even go back to childhood. And you might be a guy who's listening today, and your dad one day, just off the cuff, just told you that you were an idiot and stupid, and that has just always shaped how you feel about yourself. Words, that old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. No, words will always hurt, will permanently hurt you. So I would have you ask, like, tonight you can be free. You can unload some stuff by just letting that person go. I'd also have you think about, like, what's a relationship that you need to make right? Is there somebody that you've done dirty, right? Maybe not intentionally or what, but things are not good between you, and that you've contributed to that. You can't fix how they're going to respond, but you can make the case for some reconciliation. I'm not asking you to restore the relationship or whatever, but I'm asking you to be courageous enough to own whatever it was that you caused, and to say one of the most powerful words I say this in Dad Academy book, is courageous people say, "I'm sorry and I forgive you." In fact, one of the things I would encourage you to tell your kids, like, I never let my kids go when one of them would apologize. I never let them go, no, it's okay. No, if it was okay, you didn't need to apologize.
Right.
What you need to do is you need to make a decision. They've apologized and they've owned it. Now, will I let them go of the debt that they owe me? That's what forgive is. Right? Now, I would encourage you, like, one of the most powerful things you can do is to go to somebody in your life that maybe, you could have handled things differently, and just say, "Hey, I don't know where we're at now, but for that, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you like that." Man, that too will cleanse you.
Yeah.
And then who are some people that who've always do you right, that for one reason or another you don't give them their props, you don't appreciate them the way that they should? They probably, or maybe they know how much you mean, but you've never actually said thank you to them.
Yeah.
Find those three people. Let go of something, right? Make something right, and tell somebody thank you. And I promise you, this week and everything leading up to Easter, all of a sudden you'll feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah, I actually already did that. I did that maybe within the last few months. I've already been doing that. I'm pretty self-aware of things, but I have been thinking more about, like what you were talking about thinking about how to deal with people and talk to them more and things like that. My whole thing was, I got the podcast, I can talk on there and then just not talk and be cool. I was kind of my thing for a little while, but I think now things are changing on that end. Because when my dad told me the whole story about he had the disciples, and they discipled with each other, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Spiritual team, right? You got to have some teammates. You got to have some people who are going to bump up against you, right? Make you feel uncomfortable. You got to have some coaches, right? You got to have some people that you're coaching. I think these relationships are really, really important. In fact, and like these kind of conversations that we're having tonight, it's one of the reasons why Dad Academy even exists. Like, I hope that guys will be better dads when they go through Dad Academy. You can't not be a better dad when you actually know what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And that's what we figure out during Dad Academy. But it was really, I know that guys have a hard time maintaining relationships, have a hard time talking about things that are really important. And I started thinking about what would be a pressure point for most dads that would get them around a table to start talking about some stuff. If they want to be a better dad, and I don't know a dad who doesn't want to be a better dad.
It's a good,
Right? It was just the excuse to get guys around a table, hopefully to be able to build relationships and build some trust, that they could encourage each other, that they could challenge each other. Maybe there would be some mentoring relationships. That's why I like grandpas to be a part of the Dad Academy. Maybe they weren't great dads, but they get a chance to do it again. And a lot of men, younger men, didn't have a dad in their life, and he kind of gets to step into that role. And
that's smart. That's really smart how you came up with that idea. You're like, that's just because you're right. Men don't really want to talk about that stuff.
No,
But when it talks about being a dad and being a good dad, a lot of men do want to they want to be a better father.
well, we're going to give them that opportunity with Howls over Baaz. Dad Academy and HOB is looking towards a Father's Day, a Saturday event where we can like bring some dudes together, talk about fatherhood, equip each other on that Saturday. There'll be some more details that are starting to come about, but Jacob and I and the HOB team, my team with Dad Academy, we've been starting to think about like what would a day look like to talk about fatherhood, and what kind of good grub could we have? Because we got to throw down some barbecue or something when you get guys together.
That's awesome.
And we were talking about the Epic Center, like we did before a while
okay.
back.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Markeith has a. That's why we got to talk to Ambition.
I have a connect. Or
Oh,
a
you do
contact.
too?
Mhm.
Oh, then let's do that.
I have a contact. It's actually Millie's uncle.
Because because if again, if somebody believes in just like, man, we want to make our communities better.
Yeah.
Getting a group of dudes together to who want to be better dads,
Right.
like, don't we want to invest in that?
Yeah.
And I think a guy, like, we're going to charge you, just so that everybody's clear on we're going to charge you. You know why? Because guys only value what they pay for.
That's true too.
But when you think that you could, like, let's say, I don't know that this is going to be the price, but let's say we charge $99 for a day, and it includes lunch, it includes the book, all this kind of stuff. That's less than what it costs you to take your family to Applebee's.
Yeah.
You can change your family's destiny for less than what dinner costs. That's not a good investment? Bro, I think that's the best money that any dude could spend. I was talking to Mel, like, the biggest thing that would help me right now in my own personal journey is to hire a trainer that I would have, for 2 times a week, but it costs.
Yeah.
But that kind of cost holds me accountable too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, you want to be a better dad, it just doesn't happen by accident. You better pay the cost and get some coaching,
Personal
find
growth.
a community. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So over the next few weeks, we'll be getting some information out. If you haven't connected with Howls Over Baaz, man, drop them a DM and get them your email address. We're going to be getting some more information out this as we try to build the HOB community as well. Former guests who are on, hopefully you guys will use this platform to, appreciate what Jacob and what Mel have done, what John has done to provide this kind of opportunity, and you'll get behind some of the initiatives that we're starting to do to really take this beyond a podcast, but to really not just build our own communities, but to serve the community, to serve our audience.
So I do want to bring this up to you too, because we're going to be doing some other things now. It's going to be live streaming. So what's really big right now, and only like literally a handful of streamers are doing that. They're live streaming them at events.
Yeah, that would
following them around, things like that.
That would be a whole day, man. That we could do the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be dope.
And so now we're going to get into that, and John just figured it out. Me and John put our heads together on that, and we figured it out, right, John?
Yeah,
So
hey, John,
it's a big deal. It's
you
like
need to just put on your calendar. We'll get some more details. We're hoping that this is going to pull together, but put on your calendar Saturday, June 20th. Probably be like a morning, like a 9, 10 o'clock to 3 kind of thing, which means if we do it early enough, we don't need to have an open bar. So, but it'll be. We'll see. We're gonna try to put this kind of thing together. If you're up for this kind of thing, let us know, because we wanna find ways to serve you. And yeah, go visit dad.academy. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. There's a dope. In fact, these last 2 weeks I've been talking about a dad's relationship with his dad and how it impacts his parenting. A lot of cool research, a lot of cool stories of guys who have been through Dad Academy, and again, just trying to connect guys in friendships and in relationships around the topic of being a better dad is just an excuse to get guys connected to each other.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, so any last words from you guys? Anything from you, Mel?
Mine is tell Millie why she running from me.
Oh, you want Millie on the show? We're going to get you on, Millie. She had a couple
She
cards.
had an event tonight, comedy.
Oh, she
Cupid,
did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
in Riverside. So she's
Riverside.
over
That's
there.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So she had to go over there.
That's a tough gig, man. Like
Comedy.
the stand-up comedy thing is and it's a craft. It is practice. Like people don't, again, it's something that pros make look so easy. The timing, the pacing, the way you tell your story, right? Because I have to communicate every Sunday, right? Like it's really an art form, and to break and to start to develop a following, that's a skill.
Yeah, we're working on it. So she's doing good though. She goes to open mics to get like her practice in and all that stuff. But yeah, we're getting her more exposure to other podcasts and other like opportunities to get her name out there.
Are you kind of like doing some management for her a little bit? Excellent.
Yeah. So working our way up.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of eyes
like
on
the
us.
Jeffersons.
Huh?
You guys are like the old 70s TV show, The Jeffersons. We're moving on up.
We've been having some big eyes on us lately.
Yeah.
And this whole next thing that we're going to be doing, the live streaming thing, people don't really understand it. But I've been paying attention, and I talked to John, and it's literally a whole the event we're throwing, but I'm talking about a whole different kind of live streaming where it's like we're live streaming now, right? But there's a thing that's really basically following us around. So let's say we're eating dinner after
Right,
this.
it's a day. Yeah.
It's going to show us sparring. It's going to show them
me and
coming
you
to the
sparring.
gym. No, like going. We're going to go do to the boxing gym and do some sparring, some jiu-jitsu and 10th Planet, and just doing different things and showing us in different atmosphere. But it goes along with a lot of the guests that's been on the show. It wants to show us mingling, like maybe even us going to your church. And watching you pastor and us hanging out after, maybe eating, just different things.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting more kind of like the
like,
raw, like
it's
realness. Aside from an in-studio live conversation, it's more just actual reality kind of.
All right, listen, I got you. I'm up on what you kids are doing these days. No, I'm all about that kind of thing. So, no, I think that's dope, and I think it's just the next layer, and but again, it goes back all the way back. I just admire you guys for your consistency, right? That's just what it takes. So
just
whether it's about a podcast, whether it's about relationships, right? Whether it's about goals that we want to achieve in our life, it's just about continuing to show up. And I just, like I said, commend you both for continuing to show up.
Yeah.
And
it's tough, huh? We work our butt off, huh?
Yeah.
It's a grind for sure.
Millie's like basically doing it just like us right now. Like she's putting a lot of work in.
Bro, it's no different from me on Sundays.
Yeah.
Don't be like, I know what it is. I mean, for me to put out my newsletter, like it's a good 6 hours of a day, right? And to try to build the email list, and now I'm trying to start to promote like one-day seminars and different kinds of events, and like all the background work that I got to do.
Yeah.
I have an event that's coming up, and it's for Dad Academy, but that means I had to create a new product for the landing page, design the landing page. I'm my own web designer. I mean, I understand the grind, right? And so you're asking me like, why don't I do more church clips and stuff like that? Because the minute that one clip, even though it's pre-cut for you, ends up taking 45 minutes to try to edit it, try to get it right. And mine still don't look.
It takes me 4 hours.
Right.
4 hours a day. I'm doing that.
Right.
And it's like, it's draining sometimes. And the thing is, you got to be creative. You have to, so you have to get everybody away from you. You got to be creative when you're doing
zone,
it. I have to be in the zone. They take me out the zone. I'm like, dude, leave me alone. I'm almost done. And now I'm like, you're messing me up, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of eating, where are we going to go get tacos at?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We're going to eat, though.
All right,
I actually ate before. I'm trying to eat early. I hate eating late.
Yeah.
Especially on Tuesdays, because like most of the times after the podcast, we'll go out to eat after, and I'm just like,
because we're starving.
But I hate eating late, so my mom actually has been cooking for me, so she packed me a lunch, a dinner.
Well, John probably doesn't even get home till
late,
11 o'clock, man. So this is a 6 hour, 7 hour day for him too.
Yeah, he has to be paying attention to everything the whole time to move the switches and all that. Yeah,
not the whole time. I was asking him to pull up clips and stuff like this. I thought this was like, you know,
he would need for when it comes
messing, John.
When it comes to that, like because he does the soundboard and the switch. So every time someone talks, he has to press the switch. So like he has to pay attention to who's talking.
Little ad-libs.
Like most podcasts, they'll have like 2 to 3 people behind the scenes.
That's why you like when I come, because that's why John likes when I come, because I'm the only one that talks. Like, you're like, get the pastor on here. Like, he'll just go and go and go. Man, shut up.
He gave the buzz for that. He's like, this is an easy one for me.
All right, y'all. Yeah, I had a long day too. Like you guys, we started early today.
Yeah.
We got an early day tomorrow, but this is always a joy. It's worth the drive out. And,
we love having you on.
Yeah. We're diehard Dad Academy over here.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming on. Another killer job again.
Yeah, as always.
And as always, I like to end the show with saying our motto. In case you don't know, like at the end of Howls over Baaz, we say "shed the sheep." Yeah. So if you're ready, like on the count of 3, we're gonna say "shed the sheep." All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Shed the sheep.
Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
It's Melanie.
PJ here.
Appreciate you guys watching. We will be back next Tuesday. Peace. We're out.
Bye.